Diversity and inclusion has always been a key pillar to the people function. Successful HR leaders know that a diverse workforce can lead to better collaboration, productivity, and have just overall general better business outcomes, including our neurodiverse colleagues. Now, for those living with a neurodiverse condition, there's often been a stigma attached to it, especially when it comes to work. Now, one company trying really hard to erase that stigma, as well as support their neurodiverse colleagues, is pharmaceutical giant AstraZeneca. And for Rebekah Martin, SVP of Inclusion and Reward, there are so many benefits to working alongside neurodiverse colleagues.
Neurodiversity in the workforce is so important. It's something I'm super passionate about. So 10 to 20% of the workforce would be classified as neurodivergent, but ultimately we are all neurodiverse. We are all thinking differently. And people describe the neurodiversity spectrum, but it's really not that. It's not a linear thing. There are plenty of things which neurotypical people will have in common as attributes to those that are on the neurodivergent spectrum. One of the things which is absolutely wonderful about embracing this opportunity is it really captures the essence of people thinking differently. And thinking about people who would be classified as dyslexic, having ADHD, on the autistic spectrum, these are people who really have super skills. So they can be hyper-focused in terms of their attention. Alternatively, they might be able to spot patterns and see the big picture. These are people who ultimately can help us to innovate, be creative, and make a bigger difference in our work together. So that's why it's fundamentally important we embrace it.
It's great that companies recognize and acknowledge those that have neurodivergent conditions, but it's another thing to act. So I was wondering, what does AstraZeneca do to truly support their neurodiverse colleagues?
So at AstraZeneca, there are lots of things that we're doing around neurodiversity because we recognise that this is absolutely at the intersection of why inclusion and diversity is going to make such a difference to us as an innovation-driven company. The first thing I want to call out is the work of our fabulous employee resource group, Think. So this is particularly focused on neurodiversity, and the motto is nothing about us without us. So we involve our employee resource group in all of the things that we're doing to help educate and inform and make sure we're doing the best that we can to get the assets that are the special skills that we have in our workforce out and make the most of them. There's a huge piece around awareness and breaking down stigma. So neurodiversity is not a bad thing, it's a good thing, and it's about making the most of that. So helping people to understand that, recognizing that there is sometimes stigma associated with this, and we want people to be proud of what they are, and we want line managers in particular to look out for it and make the most of it. So this is a really key piece when it comes to awareness. There's other things like helping to stimulate the right interactions happening across the workforce. So really bringing a consciously inclusive approach to our work. So we have conscious inclusion training across our whole workforce, but we also look at things from an HR perspective around meeting effectiveness and how we can make sure that people who are thinking differently can fully participate in the conversations that are happening so that we can get the best of the best minds into the problems that we're solving together.
Now, it's really important to note here that not every HR team have the resources like AstraZeneca to create and implement so many robust policies supporting their neurodivergent colleagues. So what can smaller HR teams do to even start to think about supporting their neurodiverse colleagues? Well, according to Rebekah, it can start off very, very simple.
Supporting neurodiverse staff, we've talked about how important it is, but there are some really simple things actually that can be done. Because if we think about how we process, interpret, and digest information in 2022, the things which are going to help those people who are neurodiverse are also going to be helpful to people who are more neurotypical. And then I think there's a key piece around awareness. So where people can feel comfortable to self-identify, where they can recognize that the difference is actually a strength, that is the kind of environment that every HR function should be looking to deliver in organizations. And that's going to benefit people on the neurodiverse spectrum, as well as people who have other kinds of differences who might otherwise feel excluded or unable to participate in a whole way.
Now, clearly there are a lot of things that HR teams can do to support their neurodivergent staff. But as Rebekah says, it all starts with awareness. So if HR teams can facilitate a safe space for their neurodivergent employees to thrive in, HR teams will see better retention and a more productive and engaged workforce.